Losing weight is hard. If you've ever tried losing weight, maybe you're on a weight loss journey right now, it's really, really hard. But there are some significant advantages to using walking as a form of fitness, a form of exercise, movement as part of your weight loss journey. As one former US president learned when he was highly motivated to lose a lot of weight. If you're new to this channel, hi, I'm Dave. I'm not a doctor. It's important to know that. I'm not a licensed personal trainer. What you hear in this video should not be taken as specific advice for you. If you want to lose weight, please talk to a professional. I am a guy who loves walking. I'm passionate about walking. Started a daily podcast, Walking is Fitness, 10 minutes every day to encourage, to motivate others to begin using walking as a fitness activity. It's hard to start. It's even harder to stay with it. And that's what the podcast is really all about. So let's talk in some generalities. First off, losing weight is not a linear 3 minus 2 equals 1 for every person. One person can do A and another person can do A and they have completely different results. You could do the same thing as a friend is doing and wondering, why are they losing more weight than me? Or why am I losing more weight than them? The human body is complex. There are all kinds of nuances. So we're going to be talking in generalities about the advantages that walking has as a fitness activity as you're losing weight. Again, averages. What we're talking about here, according to the experts, is to lose a pound, you need a caloric deficit of about 3,500, maybe between 3,500 and 4,000 calories. And so that includes, obviously, what you're eating, the energy that you're taking in, the food that you're taking in, as well as how you're burning that energy, how you're burning those calories. A deficit of about 3,500 calories equals a pound. Again, it's not 3 minus 2 equals 1. It's going to be different because we're complex. The human body is complex. So walking is a powerful form of fitness, of exercise, but I think oftentimes it gets overlooked in this weight loss equation for whatever reason. A lot of times it's compared to running. The idea is that running is better for losing weight than walking. Well, here's the thing. If you run 1 mile, you're going to burn, on average, about 100 calories. If you walk 1 mile, you're going to burn, on average, about 100 calories. I know, the first time I heard that, it was mind blown. Seriously? Now, where you get the big difference is if instead of measuring how far you're going, you measure how long you're doing it. If you run for 30 minutes, you're going to burn more calories than if you walk for 30 minutes. You might be able to run 3 miles in 30 minutes, as opposed to walking a mile, mile and a half in 30 minutes. So if it's based on time, you'll burn more calories running than you will walking. But for the distance covered, it's about the same. Now here's where the advantages start. So walking is in zone 2 of heart rate training. And there are specific zones of exercise, and this is where a licensed personal trainer could explain this in a way that maybe gets into the nuances and they could explain the math. But essentially it's based on how fast our heart is beating. Zone 1, you're essentially at rest. Zone 2, you're walking. It's a moderate, sustained heart rate that you can really go for a long time. And so walking is zone 2. Running is zone 3 or 4. Now you're probably thinking, okay, so what? Zone 2 burns fat for energy. So when you're walking at a moderate pace, you're burning fat. When you're running, that equation, that dynamic starts to shift more towards carbs and away from the fat. Now, both are good, but walking, almost all of what you're doing is in zone 2, and that's primarily burning fat. It's a great fat loss activity, walking. And William Howard Taft understood this. He learned this. William Howard Taft was the 27th President of the United States. He was a big guy. He had tried as an adult to lose weight multiple times, even at one point, I think primarily through nutrition and diet, dropped 60 pounds, but he regained it and then some. And when he was president, became president in 1909, he weighed about 354 pounds. Here's the thing, William Howard Taft really never wanted to be president. What William Howard Taft wanted was to be a Supreme Court justice. And about 8 years or so after he left the White House, he was appointed Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. He was elated. He also was highly motivated to get healthy because he was in his early 60s, I think like 63, 64, and he wanted to be able to enjoy this for as long as possible. And he understood that staying at that heavy weight was probably not the healthiest for him. So he made some changes to what he was eating, and he walked to work. He walked from his home to the Supreme Court and then back home every day, more than 3 miles. He did that every day. William Howard Taft was in zone 2. He was burning fat. And over the last 10 years or so of his life, he lost and maintained a weight loss of 70 pounds. William Howard Taft was enjoying walking as he was losing weight because he was in zone 2. The other thing, significant advantage that walking has over other forms of exercise, movement, calorie burning as you're losing weight, is that walking is low impact, low stress. So the risk of injury is much lower. Hard to lose weight when you're on the sidelines injured, when you can't move because you got an injury. With walking, you're lowering the risk of those injuries. That's a huge advantage. Walking is also sustainable. How many times have either we done this or heard of others who lost a lot of weight, reached that finish line, goal reached, wahoo, hard to do, big accomplishment, but then like William Howard Taft, after he lost 60 pounds, gained it back, maybe even more? Walking is sustainable, which allows you to maintain that weight loss. And this is my story. I got serious about exercise and fitness because I was gaining weight. Didn't like the way it looked. It was, ego driven. And candidly, I started running. And that weight came off. But then about 5 years after I started running, I transitioned to walking as my primary form of fitness, my primary exercise. And for more than 10 years now, that's what I've been doing. And that weight has not come back. In fact, I get a physical every year. And every year my doctor says, what you're doing, keep doing it. It's working, keep doing it. So I'm going to keep walking. Walking's also great for your mood. It lowers stress, it lowers anxiety. And when you're losing weight, that can be a stressor. You go for that walk and you feel better. I mean, emotionally, you feel better. Take some of the stress and anxiety out of losing weight. That's a huge advantage that walking has over other forms of fitness and exercise. And you know what? Walking, because it's sustainable, it's the kind of fitness activity that you and I can do for a long, long time, for years, even decades. So if you're watching this video and you're contemplating, you're thinking about losing weight, or maybe you're on a weight loss journey, but it's not going quite the way you want, maybe it's even more of a struggle, and you're thinking, I could do this walking thing. I could get into this, because walking is fun. Maybe not the first few times, but once you get some momentum, walking is a lot of fun. It's great enjoyment. But if you're wondering, how do I get started? Because I've done this exercise thing before and it never sticks. I want to invite you to check out my podcast, Walking is Fitness. Every day there's a new 10-minute episode, and it's not me in a studio going, you should walk. Every episode is recorded while I'm out walking like I am right now. It's encouraging, it's motivating, and it's helped so many people start and stick with fitness. Again, the name of the podcast, Walking is Fitness. Just check whatever podcast app is on your phone, search Walking is Fitness. Find it in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or others. And then to make it even easier on yourself, follow the podcast. It'll be automatically downloaded and waiting for you every morning when you're ready to take a walk. And some of the apps, like Apple, will even send you a notification, which is an invitation. Hey, let's go for a walk. And if you're like me, sometimes in the early days of building a new habit, I just forget. I forget that I'm doing this thing. Well, you get that notification. It's a reminder as well as an invitation. Thanks for walking. Thanks for watching. And let's take a walk, a 10-minute walk together using the podcast, Walking is Fitness.